All right, guys, we're live right now. So I decided to go live because, maybe I need to go live more consistently, but sometimes it'd be hard, you know, just due to a lot of factors. But, you know, sometime, I just, it's just one moment you think you're going to go live, and then the next moment you're like, I'll put it off tomorrow. Um, but what I want to kind of talk about is the battle of ideas. And this is going to be, I know this is going to be kind of like a broad show that have to have. But when I say the battle of ideas, what I mean is that, you know, we're kind of in charge of what we consume to a certain extent. Um, you know, when we look at, for example, I want to say, you know, when we look at the advent of OnlyFans or the advent of Cornhub or something like that, the reason why these things exist is because there's consumers. You know what I mean? If there wasn't any consumers, then they wouldn't exist. Same with TikTok. There's consumers of content and then the creators of content. So, excuse me, just give me one moment. Yeah, so we're kind of responsible for what we consume. Um, and me, especially, I kind of, I guess you can say that certain things run their course after a while. And I guess there's no need to be reminded of the same reality over and over again. I think the better thing to do would be, okay, how are you going to leave that reality? How are you going to create your own? Meaning that what can you possibly do to leave the reality that you are in? Or, um, you know, um, are you going to, for example, we know that like most modern women are no good. We know that they're not really meant to. We know that they're not meant to. For example, we know. Hold on. So we know, for example, like that most modern women are not to be married. We know that most modern women are transactional. We know these things. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to like decide to engage in the cesspool which is available to you, or are you going to leave it for something better that will be more conducive to your program? Now, um, what I've realized, this is some things I realize, and I know this makes us, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of does make us feel better about ourselves. I can't really speak for me because of the simple fact that like I'm on a different like wave right now, and inshallah Allah knows my intention, and he will I'm hoping that he inshallah will acknowledge this attention, and then um by him acknowledging this attention, um this intention, that he will, inshallah, I can I can basically carry out what I need to carry out. You know what I mean? This is uh this is basically what I'm trying to do. Now, the thing is, when you have like these content creators, and you have these podcasters, be it Fresh and Fit, or you know these people, they're bringing you the same thing day in and day out. They're not really bringing you anything different. You know what I mean? Um, and you have to ask yourself, what's better for you? Expanding your mind, or being like pumped with the same things? Now we know there is the gender war. We understand this. We know for a fact that, yeah, there's the gender war. You know, so one must ask himself, okay, if there's the gender war, right? How what are we to do? Um, what are we to do to exit the gender war? And we know what it is to we know what it is. We know what it is to be in it. Because if you're in the West, you've been in it for a long time. You've been here for a minute. Um, so in being here for a minute, you understand what needs to be done, basically. Um, but what I'm really trying to get at is that we're kind of in charge of our energy, and what kind of things we consume. And I had to like kind of step back and realize that I'm responsible for that. I can say that, for example, that i- it not doing it too much, but being aware is basically the better thing to do. Meaning that you're aware of the women's nature, you're aware about how they act, you're aware that maybe everything that you do is still not going to be good enough for them, because of the simple fact that they just I don't know, it just seems like you can't really please them, no matter what you do. I don't know why, but it's just that's what it just seemed like. This is just the time we're living in right now. um but what I mean is, you have to I don't know how to explain it, because for a Muslim, right, we have it in our Fatiha, Edina Soroto Mustaqim. We say this over and over again, in 5 times a day, sometimes more times, if we want to close the dua with the Fatiha. So we say this often. This is something that is a part of our daily routine. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's really kind of one of those things where I won't say that I grew out of it. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that I grew out of this content or anything like that. But what I am going to say that the same kind of content could just like get monotonous after a while. Um, I think too that if you are along the lines of Hydra, that you want to make Hydra, that your goal is to make Hydra, then I think your your best bet, right? Your best bet um is to I guess you can say cut like cut this content out and map out your plays and execute them. But it's easier said than done because the thing is, what I will say is that we're always being bombarded, right? We're always being bombarded with, we're always being bombarded with, I want to say, um, uh, with the same kind of things on our news feed. We're always being, um, we're always being bombarded by these things, right? So what I'm saying is that I know it's hard to be up. I know it's hard, like to cut off these things, cut off these kind of things that we have going on. I know it is hard, but I just believe that if you, for example, if you are the type who just watches it over and over again, right? I think it gets to a point where you will be it'll get to a point where basically um it'll just turn into so much anger, right? We know how these women are. We know how the men who entertain these women are. This is just how it is. We can't do anything about it. Okay. There is that group of men who are going to stay, like who are going to accept what is going on. Okay. There's that group of men who are going to do that. But for those who are not going to do that, I think we owe it to ourselves to like, move accordingly. You know, we know we see the problem, we see the issues going on right now, we see it. There's really nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do about it is just get the hell out. That's going to be our best thing to do. It's just get the hell out. Um we know we need to get the hell out. So uh there will be people who, for example, I want to say there will be people who will, you know, who will like try to second guess what you're trying to do. There are going to be a people among you that are going to um, second guess you and your intentions. But you owe it to yourself to not get involved, or and I will say also trust your gut as well. You owe it to yourself to do those things, because if you don't, you're just going to end up having the same fate as everybody else. Because I want to tell you something, okay? I want to tell you something real quick. Um, I want to tell you, right? that um it's going to it's I hate to say it, but it's going to basically I guess you can say it's going to test you. These kind of situations that we're in right now are going to stretch you. I was just on a live stream earlier with Afrodamus, shout outs to him. And they were going at me very, very bad in the comment section. But at the end of the day, I just had to stay down and just like deal with it. This is just how it goes. So, with that being said, I just have to suck it up and deal with the things that they were saying. This is just how it works. Um and sometimes there's nothing you can do. But well, I guess you could what I want to kind of like talk about is, I guess you can say, how all of this has a effect if we let it have an effect on us. Like, for example, if we let the whole media just have this like this adverse effect on us, if we let certain things that are being said in the media have an adverse effect on us, if we just follow everything that the media is saying without like researching or without using like critical or logical thinking, how much of an effect it has on us. Because when you look at it, right, yeah, I'm just going to give an example, and I am hopefully not going to backbite. Um, but when you look at, for example, there's this one woman I follow on, on Instagram, and the reason why I follow her is, the reason why I follow her is because the reason why I do is because she from that Muslim Russian region. But even her, I think that she has even eaten the feminism, you know, uh, uh, bug. And the thing is that's crazy about them is that I guess she was of the different type that are from that region, because I was surprised that she opted out of like getting married as soon as possible. And now it's like the situation is that I guess you can say that she's one of them, eh, I don't want to say boss babes, but she's one of the women that is more inclined to a a a non-traditional way of thinking, despite coming from a traditional upbringing, I would assume, right? Now, for example, she doesn't agree with the war with Ukraine, right? Um, but I guess she bought the thing about what Ukrainians are saying, right? And there's always two sides to the story, but she's not like accounting for what happened in 2014 that basically caused the conflict, that made the conflict happen. I think that's the thing about it. She's not like really paying attention to that factor. You know what I mean? But with that being said, right? Um it goes back to the, I guess, the thing about like what you consume, you know. It's very, very like important what you consume. And if you're consuming like the things that are just given to you, then obviously you're not going to like get the truth of the matter, you know. And so this is what I think happened with her, you know. So what I want to do is I want to also give another example. Um, I mean, we can be honest with ourselves, you know. When you look at when you look at when you look at what, I forgot what I was about to say, but when you look at, for example, God, it just slipped my head. I just forgot. Oh, okay, yes, yes, that's what I was thinking. So when you look at, for example, the recent things that happened with Zion Williamson, okay, the reason why there was so much attention on that thing was because there was a corn star involved, and I think there was a scripper involved, and I believe there was a single mom involved. Now, I guarantee you, the only attention that that thing would get if it was under like normal circumstances, which they're now trying to make normal, is the only attention it would get is if the race of woman was different. If the race of woman was, for example, maybe the race of woman was, Anglo, or maybe the race of woman was Anglo Latin, like ethnically she was Anglo, but culturally she was Latin or something like that. So when you look at that kind of factor, the only reason why Zion Williamson got that attention was for the simple fact that it was a scripper and I believe a corn star involved in this kind of entanglement. Now, one thing I want to say as well is one thing I really would like to say is that is that what that did, and it's sad to say it, but what happened is it kind of set off a I guess you can say like a domino effect on now what women will think that they're entitled to, you know. For it is crazy to say it, but you will probably have now women who believe that they are entitled to that kind of type of high that type of man, you know what I mean? They will feel entitled to having that type of man because they have consumed that. So like the scripper and the corn star will now think that, oh, well, since it happened to her, it can happen to me too. And so as a result of that, it just creates a domino effect that spirals down and makes matters worse, right? But I will say this, okay? Um, the fact that he did that, um, it just sets us guys back. That's the problem. It makes it harder for us guys because, although the scenario they're in is like kind of like a once in a blue moon scenario, you're still going to have women who think that, okay, well, since that happened to him, it needs to happen to me. And I want what I want, although like I'm way out of my league in wanting what I want. This therein lies the issue. You know what I mean? Um, so without further ado, what I want to do is I want to go into a few videos, give my commentary, and just show like if you're consuming this and the company you're around, things like that, they can influence your ideas. My ideas come from experience most of the time, but also my ideas come from observing, you know what I mean? Uh, I will say as well that, sometimes generalizations are dangerous, but if you keep on seeing the certain pattern of someone, then those generalizations are valid. You know what I mean? So, without further ado, let me go ahead and share the screen. Okay. Hold on just a minute. All right, here we go. Now we're good. So one guy that I like, and the thing is about these leaders that you can learn from, because I'll just show you like what you consume maybe become part of you, you know. So I'll just show you something real quick. Hold on. Hopefully they don't copyright copyright strike me. Okay, let's see.
Just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce.
Never go out of fucking business. That's why the nail salons will never go out of business. That's why hair extensions, Sephora, all these guys, they're never going to go out of business. You guys want to know why? Because, okay, women know deep down, even the strongest feminist, okay, that shaves her head and doesn't shave her armpits, still puts on fucking makeup and dresses a certain way because she knows her value is determined based on the way that she looks. Okay? We talk all the time, man, life is easy mode for girls. They just like show up and get guys, and it's just so easy. Guys, let's look at it on the other side. Let's be objective here. You know what sucks? They will never get the same level of respect for what they create. I'm going to say that again. They will never get the same level of respect for what they create and what they bring to the world because their looks always come fucking first. You don't have to adhere to that BS. You are based on what you create, okay? The reason why so many of you guys have rage is because you're basing your value on, can I attract a being that can't even tell you what the fuck she wants to eat for lunch? Okay? Real talk. A lot of y'all are mad that you can't get girls, but the reality is girls can't even tell you what they want to eat for lunch. They're not stable creatures. They change by the day. They change by the
Now, the thing is that maybe, you know, maybe the thing is with these women is that the odds are so stacked against you that you know that you can get girls somewhere else, for and it would be easier. However, due to the situation you're in right now, it's just everything is stacked against you as a man. You know what I mean? So part of it I get, but at the same time, we have the solution, and I think he's against that solution. That's the thing.
hour. They're slaves to their emotions. You cannot let someone that is not congruent to who they are every single day, every hour of the day, control the way that you feel. Your value is never based on the attraction of the opposite fucking gender. It's always based on what you create for the world. The real reason why a lot of you guys experience red pill rage is because of this. You're fat, you live with your mom, you smoke weed, you play video games all day, you don't get out there and create.
Well, um, I will say that, like, you know, I don't know if that's always the case with people. Some people, they don't necessarily they necessarily are in shape. They have everything checked off. You know what I mean? And so I can't say that completely that guys are always going to be in red pill rage. I can't really say that, because some people, have all boxes checked off, right? Working out, going to the gym, going to how should I put it? Uh you know, what's that word? Good career and things like that, chiseled everything, but they still are having difficulties because of the sincerity of the woman. Like most of the time, even if they check those boxes off, the woman is not going to be sincere. You know what I mean? That's how it works most of the time. So I don't even think it's necessarily having to do with being fit all the time, because you can be, I guess you can say, like Biggie Smalls, baby, baby, and you can have all the women you want, but again, there comes the status factor, right?
Okay? I don't give a shit if you do a podcast, if you go to the gym and you're a bodybuilder, if you're an athlete, if you're going to school to become an engineer, whatever it is, you need to do something as a man, okay? Idle hands do the devil's work. I'm going to say that again. Idle hands do the devil's work. Whether you're committing crimes or you're doing stupid shit with your free time and getting in trouble, or you're whacking off or being sad about your life.
Now, what I will say is that, like, in terms of that regards, is that, like, I don't know if he's really stepped into the reality that, like, women actually are attracted to that. As crazy as it sounds, like, if you ask a woman, you know, um, if you ask a woman about those things, she would actually like those type of men. If you look at certain videos, there are women who say they are looking for drug dealers. There are women who are saying that they are looking for scammers and things like that. I'll be right back. Just give me 1 minute. Let's get back to it. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to go get something outside, but whoever catches the replay will catch the replay. But what I'm saying is that okay, if he's saying these things, yeah, um I don't think he realizes that sometimes that's not even good enough, you know. And so with that being said, let's continue on. Let's listen.
You need to find something to do. You need to find something to create. That's going to give you purpose. Alpha Male Strategy talks about this all the time. Shout out to him. He'll be on the show in about a month.
Yeah.
You need a purpose. You need a mission. Okay? Men need to conquer. Men need to create. There's a reason why since the beginning of time, motherfuckers walked around in random directions all over the globe to try to conquer things. Why? Because men's value is based on what we create, what we can take over, what we can do for society. So that's step number one. Your value does not come from the approval or validation of the opposite gender. It comes from the validation and approval of fucking society. That's the difference. A lot of you guys think like women. Women need validation from men.
But at the same time, right? There have been, for example, there have been guys who have came out of prison and they've came home to a bag because based on how they look. You know what I mean? There's guys in prison right now, for example, who are getting all kinds of money on their books. And there's nothing they can do for society, you know, except for cheap labor, right? But yet they're still winning in a major way. Okay. So for me, that logic is flawed, right? Now, another one who kind of had us deceived So what I want to say, right? And then again, now she's in her new place. Um, again, this comes from just knowing about this, and again, like again, thinking for yourself. Now, just poopy things decided to come at my faith, right? And she doesn't regret it, you know. Now let's look at how she came. Um, let's look at her.
Hello.
Hey, Auntie.
Hi, how are you? You
How
look
are
knackered.
you? What?
You look knackered. I'm hot and sweaty. You look tired.
And now,
Oh, I just woke up. That's probably why.
and now,
No, you still in America?
Yeah.
I want to mention something because she doesn't think before she talks. Now she has to play damage control for her words against Islam. But let's listen.
I'm still in Barbados.
When are you coming back?
When I get a ticket, once I get a ticket, then I'm going to come back.
When are you getting
That's
a
it.
ticket?
I say by the end of the month.
By the end of the month?
Yeah. It's hard to keep two houses, one when I'm here and one when I'm there. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm keeping two houses, but now I'm determined that I'm going to come home.
Yeah, I miss you. I can't wait to hang out again.
I miss you too. All those leggy shots I've been seeing. You know, those short skirts in those interviews.
What leggy shots?
I've seen it. Wasn't good. It was, really, really bad. But it's really hot. Dowries.
Oh, okay. So I should get a goat too. I can get a goat.
Yeah, you need to be home.
You know, my dad, you know, when they ask like women what they bring to the table? You know, when I get married, my dad gives out a plot of land to us. So I'm going to start saying I bring about 8 acres to the table.
So the thing is about that is that, like, how is that gonna work? Because here's the thing. We all know, for example, that just poopy things, she wants a certain caliber of guy. You know. And chances are the type of caliber of guy she wants, it's gonna be like, man, I don't need your anchors. I don't need your acres of land. I built myself up. I got this, you know. But let's continue.
See, for the
They'll be
goat.
like, they don't care about your money. I'm like, what about land?
That's how you get an African man. Tell your dad to throw in a couple of sheep, a couple of cows, maybe a goat or two. And then you'll be all right.
Well, it's actually the other way around. So she's quite ignorant herself, Jenny. Yeah, I don't know if she's half-heartedly joking or not, but it's actually the other way around. You know, the man has to bring those things, those tangible things. Well, let's continue.
That's what they used to do before. They had dowries.
Oh, okay. So I should get a goat too. I can get a goat.
They still have dowries. It's called a bride's price, right? Listen, most Muslim men, most traditional men have no problem with the dowry. Okay. The only time there's problems with the dowry is when it's like otherworldly, when they're asking for 100,000 racks or something, and then it's like, okay, what are we getting in return? Are we getting a woman who will be okay with polygamy? Are we getting a woman who does namaz? Are we are we getting a woman who's going to encourage the kids to get into like manly things when I'm not there? You know, like outdoors things like swimming, hiking, and things like that, while keeping the balance of studying and being knowledgeable. Like, that's the whole question, right?
Yeah, you need a goat. Goats are very valuable. You need a goat.
Yeah.
Once you get a goat and everything, then it'll be all right. Then you got the plot of land, the goat, because yeah, that's what they do. They're dowries, and I think it was the daughters. I've got to get this right because my friend, I remember her saying that. Yes, I think it's the daughters that do everything. I think in the daughters, it's the daughters that do everything, and in the Africans, I'm sure it's the African men that show that they can provide for the woman.
Yeah, she's very flawed in her logic. We all know that the man gives the dowry, the man gives the mahar. Okay, many of times the man pays for the wedding. Okay, so I really don't know what the hell she's talking about. I'm kind of like at a loss for words about what she is saying. Really, you know, this actually makes no sense to me.
Because they have this ceremony where the man has to go to the parents. And I've seen men go with boxes of jewelry, like suitcases full of jewelry, clothes, the latest shoes, the latest fashion, all these different cloths. And that's just to prove that you can look after her. Yes, somebody's requesting to join. But you
I was
can't.
thinking of telling you, I accidentally. I stirred up.
Don't forget we're on live.
I stirred up some trouble.
Like usual. The translation says she did it for attention because her views and her presence were, I guess, taking a dip. I don't know. But it was for attention. But let's continue.
Can you talk about it now?
Yeah, well, I think so. It's on my Twitter.
What did you do, Carl?
Okay, so I was really confused because I would talk to like Muslims, right? And so every time I hear about the Muslim religion, right? What do you call it? The gut reaction from the Christians or the Catholics was that their prophet dated a 9-year-old, or not dated, married. And so I've been asking that question on Twitter because I would get confused because half would say yes and half would say no. And I just want to know, like, is it true or is it not true?
So the thing is about it too, and things like this require much like detail. Okay, it requires a lot. Okay, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, and we have to again go, the scholars have even had difference of opinion in regards to this. Um, most of the scholars would say that Aisha was indeed like, may Allah be pleased with her. That Aisha was indeed the age of marrying in terms of the Western standard when she married the Prophet, alayhi salatu salam. You know, when you look, I mean, that's one opinion. The other opinion is that, yes, maybe perhaps she was a bit younger. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, there's two different scholarly opinions. And it's just not one set answer, you know. So for her to keep on asking the same question, wouldn't it dawn on her by the divide that, hey, maybe perhaps that there is two different um opinions about this matter, and that maybe I should just go off of, just leave this area alone, right?
And this has caused some enrage because I said dated a 9-year-old, and I guess that's like offensive. Like it's married, not dated. And yeah, so this has gotten the Muslims extremely mad at me on Twitter.
Wow. That's even worse than having the blacks mad at you.
I know. I was like, I didn't mean to insult anybody, but I just wanted to know if it was true or not. And I was just like, I wasn't even trying to make it like, because the Catholics have had their fair share of scandals too. I just wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
So again, be careful with the battle of ideas, because she just equated the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam's marriage with Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, to a scandal. And really, it wasn't a scandal at all. So again, be careful with what you consume.
But yeah, I was
But
like,
the thing is,
I guess you can't like ask that question.
but the thing is, I mean, I would say he married, but I'm gonna talk it up there. Said betrothed, which means that he was promised to her, but she stayed at home, and then they got married when she was about 9 or 10. But then you got to think, what was the age? A lot goes into it. You have to think, what was the age of the person?
Well,
Puberty.
yeah,
Puberty
well,
puts
they were saying like,
if a child past puberty, then they're ready for childbirth.
yeah, well, I said, did he screw a 9-year-old? Like, cause I was,
See? And what I blame, okay, this is what I blame. I blame the men who she's had on the show, and those men who supported her, for allowing her to talk in this matter. Okay? That's what I blame. Well, let's continue.
I was curious.
Say it like that.
Yeah, I did, because I wanted to know. Like, because they first said, well, he like married her when she was 6, and then they're like, but they consummated when he was 9. So I was just like, so he screwed a 9-year-old.
Wow.
And I didn't mean it like
Consummated doesn't mean screw. It means that they probably moved in. Okay.
but I see like
Language. It's the language. It's the language. What you got to think to yourself is, with me being devil's advocate here,
well, I think it was the time. That's what they're
we need to
saying.
look at the time, what the times were like then. And that's a lot of religions think that once you're showing signs of puberty is a sign of getting ready to give birth, whether they do or not.
Yeah, that's what because Tristan Tate tweeted at me. I was like, oh no. I go,
So
but
it's
he
not
said,
what you say sometimes, it's how you say it, that
what?
you're interested. You have to go back to that time and to say, like, in those days, I suppose, if you had a virgin and men of status married virgins.
Well, the thing is this. This thing can be nipped right away. The Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam didn't even produce kids with the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam did not even produce any kids with Aisha. Okay. So the fact of the matter is that, this question doesn't even really need to be asked or anything, because he didn't even have kids with Aisha. May Allah be pleased with her. Well, let's continue.
Then you would betroth your daughter to me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to have your daughter. Betroth means that I promise to marry your daughter. You're promising me your daughter to marry.
Well,
And then when the age to get married, which would have been about 10 years old back in those days, then they got married.
well, and then I tweeted again. And now this, I think was the wrong tweet. Because I'm just.
Yeah.
I said like, wait, did he date a 9? I gotta find the exact tweet, but it was something like, did he date a 9-year-old? And then I go, okay, I'd maybe understand 12 or 13, but 9. And then everyone's like, okay, you're saying it's okay for them to date 12 and 13-year-olds. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Like,
and he didn't date her.
Yeah, right. And I didn't realize that like date is like offensive.
Yeah.
They don't believe in date. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'm
Straight up.
I'm so used to saying date that I keep doing. I don't mean to. I'm just so used to the word.
But if you look at kings and queens all over the world, they married what we class now. Sorry, I've got somebody trying to contact me. Yeah, they actually married children. So it's not just the Muslims. We have to think about the times back then, because now we put age on everything. We put age on the time when somebody can get married, which is the difference to America, so there's lots of people, not just the Muslims. And it's throughout time, all over the world, Middle East, Asia, so nobody needs to be offensive, just that sometimes, you just need to think of how you're saying things.
That's what the Tates or Tristan tweeted. He was like,
It's
but I
it's
think,
not what
okay,
you say,
but
it's how you say
I think they think like, because I feel like we should talk about like, because when they talk about the Muslim religion, like that's always what they bring up. Oh, he married a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, like whatever. And so I'm like, well, we should talk about it so we know what's true and what's not true. The same way, like I'm Catholic. Like I think the Catholics should talk about the priests, the priest thing that happened,
with the Catholic.
Now I know there are not really practicing Muslims. Okay, I understand that. I understand that there are some of us who don't practice, okay? But at the same time, are you really a spokesperson for the Catholic religion with your track record? And that track record including, you know, being cahoots with a known um let's just say Bandera, okay?
So I think the minimum age for marriage was 12
Yeah.
for Catholics back in the day. It was 12 years old. It was okay. It was acceptable for a 12-year-old to get married if she was a Catholic. But now you think,
Yeah, no, actually.
so yeah.
But
So it's been throughout the ages, but it's not what you put it, it's how you put it. Because the way you made it sound was really offensive. And you made it sound as if it was just a Muslim thing. When it's not just a Muslim thing, it was back in the day, it was a worldwide century. I mean, you can go and Google it, and then you can see that every century had it. 20th
no,
century.
that's what I found out. I tweeted that too. I was like, okay, apparently this is what I tweet. I'm tweeting my updates. I tweeted, okay, apparently this was normal at the time.
Yeah, but some places in America.
So the thing is, right? She decided to put it upon herself to go into the Muslim space, right? With the same mentality of the Manosphere. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't know for a fact. But I don't know if she has a following outside of you know, the Manosphere. Like, I don't know if Muslims are following her. I don't know if Muslims support her. Okay, I really don't know. Okay. This is news to me. I have no idea if this is the case. Perhaps it is. I don't know. Okay. But the fact of the matter is that she took it upon herself to go into the same space with the same mentality that like her cohorts have.
It's okay to get married at 12. Yeah.
Like,
Just
well, and then I said, what did I say? I said
okay. It says child marriage is currently legal in 42 states in America.
wow.
Yeah. Because I knew it happened, like 12 years old and something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
42 states.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 42 states. Yeah, you can get 6 states have no official minimum age, but you need both consent of both parents. California, Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Washington.
Well, and then my other question is like, okay, so I mean, the alternative is now like 14-year-olds are like screwing random dudes at parties. You know, is that
right? So, and that's why in some cultures it's best to get married young. Once you hit puberty, get married.
Yeah, but I said, but 9 though. I'm like, yeah, 9 is kind of young even for me. But they're saying it was normal at the time, and I do think you have to look at like what was normal at the time. But I couldn't really have this conversation. Then everyone got mad. I was like, maybe I should have stayed away from this one.
Yeah, it's normally what you say and how you are and how you answer questions. You know, it's always good to.
Maybe I shouldn't have said screwed. That was my bad. I shouldn't have.
Yeah. Told you about your language before, young lady. I told you your language. Your potty mouth is going to get you into trouble.
Well, apparently. I know, and they were calling me a something woman. I was like, wow. I didn't.
Yeah.
was just asking the question. I'm like, I support you asking the questions about the priests with the altar boys. I think that's fair. That's a fair question.
But it's how you went up to you wouldn't go up to a priest and say, "Excuse me, priest, I heard that you screwed out young boys." Or is it true that a priest screwed out the young boys?
Yeah, but
You wouldn't say that.
I'm
You would
on
say,
Twitter. I wouldn't do that in person. But I'm on Twitter. I'm just tweeting. You know what I mean? I tweet.
Tweeting that to the whole world.
Tweeting. Like I'm just.
And not only that, is that what the when they slept with the boys, that was illegal. But all of these marriages.
But you're not thinking before you tweet. That's the thing. You're just tweeting, so you're not even thinking before you do it. So this is why this is why you need to like stop when you're ahead. Well, let's continue.
Is under the age, what we would class as consent, are all legal. Even the ones in America, in the 42 states, they're legal. Which blows your mind now to think that a 12-year-old girl can get married in America. So if it's 12 years old, we're in 2023, and if it's 12 years old now, when that religious man, peace be upon him, whoever he is, when he got with that,
Well, the good news is, and this was very, very good of her, and respect for her for saying this. She actually put salutations upon the prophet, upon whom be peace. This says a lot about her and her respect to our faith. So I do respect her for actually doing that. Actually giving salutations to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu salam. This shows a lot of respect, and yeah, this is good.
$10-year-old, at what age? What was the age of consent in America then? If it's 12 now, could it be the same age, if not younger? Because it's 12 legally now. Like, you see, that blows your mind now. 12 years old. Once the mommy and daddy said, yeah, they can get married, it's 12 years old, they can get married, and it happens. It still happens. Especially with religious families, not necessarily Muslims. There's loads of other American cultures out there that are not Muslim, that's okay, that believe in how it was back then. That, once you're showing age of puberty, that's sign that you're ready to get married and have children, and that's so and go ahead and do it. And it's legal. So I'm surprised I didn't throw that back at you, but sometimes people get angry without coming back at something with an intelligent answer. Like, rather than come back and shout at you and call you on these names, you're haram and you're a loose woman and you're a Jezebel, these are all words that be thrown out at you.
No, they prayed for my humiliation. They prayed for my humiliation. I was like, what?
Well, you've already done that. You've already like, let's just say you've already kind of like did that. We don't even need to talk about it. You've done that to yourself.
All right, then, she's been humiliated. I've told her it's not right. I've told her America's just,
I was like,
wow. She's been humiliated.
Wow.
They would have to educate you.
Well,
who is it?
I want to do a religion panel this summer, but I don't want to fly a bunch of... Okay.
Well, you want to be careful. You want to have a mixed panel. Do your research before you do any of that.
A bunch of people out for this, so I might just have to wait till I'm in Chicago, because the
yeah, stay away from religion. Please stay away from religion. Now, let's see what she has to say. And look at who she has on the panel with. Again, I say this. It's a battle for ideas, okay? That's the thing. It's a battle for ideas. And what I can say is that it's harder to it's harder to, like, I guess you can say, nowadays it's harder to trust your gut. Nowadays it's harder to just be like, you know what? I have to get I have to be like I have to be, my own person. It's harder to say those things. A lot of times you will want to be affiliated with something. You know what I mean? Mostly everybody does. But um the thing that you have to be affiliated with has to be like, you know what I mean, like positive. I mean, no matter what, if you're part of a religious group or anything, you still have affiliation. So that means like you're affiliated with something, right? No matter what religion you are, right? But also you may be affiliated with something else, as the case is with them. They're affiliated with the Manosphere Red Pill Space. But now let's listen to what she has to say. I think this was 3 days ago. And let's see what she has to say about Islam. Okay. Let's listen. Okay, let's see.
You know what I mean? I'll be very thankful.
I always had a very healthy respect for Islam because I understand that to a degree, to have a religion at all, you have to have an intolerance to a degree.
Yeah.
Because without an intolerance, you don't have rules.
Yeah.
You don't.
Okay, so I guess in a way I can agree to that. Like, if you really are holding the line with Islam, then what I will say is that you do have an intolerance to certain things. You do have an intolerance to like debauchery. You do have an intolerance to ignorance. You do have an intolerance to those things. So I do agree to that extent. I do agree to that extent. Okay. Now the only thing that the slippery slope is living in a place where this intolerance is accepted. That's where the slippery slope is. Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times it's accepted. You know what I mean? A lot of times. So what I'm saying is that the things that are that are that you have intolerance for are usually tolerated if you're living in the West. You know.
Don't have laws. You don't have any, like you said, you have to earn God's respect. If you're a religion which is tolerant of everything, then you don't have to earn God's respect. You can be a bad person and do bad things. God loves me, so it's fine. Well, no, it's not, because that's not the point of the religion. So then you extrapolate that out, and I was sitting and thinking, well, what's the primary function of a religion? And the primary function of a religion, I don't believe is the religion exists so I can live forever. I mean, that's a nice thought. But I think on a macro level, the primary objective of a religion is to restore and contain some degree of traditional value within the society. How do you judge? Let me change the way I worded that. How do you judge the success of a religion? I don't think you can judge it by the number of people who join it, because there's lots of people who are Catholic who don't act Catholic. They don't act in any way particularly Christian. Anyone can say they're something. You can walk into a strip club and everyone says they're Christian.
I know I got a bad mouth too. I swear a
I'm
bit
just
too
trolling you.
much.
I think you're holding yourself to a way high standard. I don't think you're bad at all.
No, I'm telling you.
You don't know how bad these girls are out here home.
So again, this guy right here, I think his name is like Modern Life Dating or something like that. I think him, I think, like, honestly, what I will say is that he actually wants to he actually wants to, I guess you could say, win brownie points with just poopy things. That's what I think. So yeah, I think this is the case with him, is that he wants to win brownie points. I guess that's what he's trying to do.
Oh, and you have no idea.
Yeah,
You are a
well,
saint.
okay.
You're basically a
but
virgin
no.
compared.
Yeah. Don't say anything like that. He said that you're a saint. Like, that's crazy that he would say you're a saint. Why would you even say something like that you're a saint?
to these girls.
Okay, but it's like, all right. No, because I did when I was younger. I wanted to wait till I was married and I did it. I felt guilty for like years. Years. And it's like, just because the culture's changed, like I don't feel like human standards have changed. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
think God gives maybe he does. I don't know. Like, does God give passes based on the culture?
No.
Yeah, like, that's the dumbest question I've heard in my life. Now what I will say, and is that factors are considered, with the culture and things that you're going through, but that doesn't mean you get a pass. I mean, maybe perhaps you get some mercy that you may have not have gotten if, for example, if you were if there's no excuses, but there are valid excuses for maybe certain things not being able to be done. But there's no passes.
No.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I think of more like the women throughout history. I'm like, if I sliver into heaven, I'll hold. You know what I mean? I'll be very
if
thankful.
I make my way in there.
Yeah. But you know what else Catholics believe that makes more sense to me? We believe in like layers of heaven. So we
really?
believe
I know there's
like
layers
heaven.
of hell.
Yeah, we believe in like there's better heaven for better people.
And so obviously her research in Islam is very, very limited, because the Muslim believes that there's 7 levels of heaven and there's also 7 levels of hell. Okay? This is in the Quran. It says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the 7 levels of heaven. There's 7 levels of heaven and also the levels of hell as well. So what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that, like, again, lack of research.
And that makes so much sense to me because I'm like, and I've heard now everyone's telling me, I guess Mother Teresa wasn't a good person. I don't know. That's what everyone on Twitter was saying. I don't know if that's true. Guys, don't. But this Mother Teresa is just the example I'm going to use. I'm like, this woman dedicated her whole life, allegedly, right? I don't know. But to like helping children, like this whole thing. And I'm like, would I get in the same heaven that Mother Teresa? That doesn't make sense to me. But the layers, like when they taught me that, I'm like, that logically, I'm not like a Bible. I know all the verses.
I'm trying to figure out what have you done? Like, I know you're from Chicago. Did you shoot somebody? Like,
no.
Why do you think you're so bad?
I don't think I'm so bad. I just think I think there's like worse people, but I think I swear too much. I don't think I go to church enough. Like,
okay,
I try to be honest, but I lie sometimes.
You don't swear as much as other girls though. You really don't. It's a real turnoff. If a girl curses in front of me, like my romantic interest just plummets. But these girls like drop an F-bomb every other word.
Yeah. I do like to drop an F-bomb here and there.
Well, it's all good.
Right? So how do you judge the success of a religion? Well, I like to think the best way to judge the success of a religion is how successful is it at fighting evil? How successful is it at preserving the morality of a population in X parameter, in X geographical area? So when you look at it from that way, you can't say that Islam isn't the most successful religion on earth. It's the most successful in regards to opposing evil. It's the most successful in regards to opposing its differing viewpoints. It's the most successful in regards to having people act within the limits and the confines of what it finds to be moral and good to God.
Yep.
It's the most adhered to. It's the most feared. It's the most respected in most forms.
I feel like
also I'd like to think
I feel like London belongs to the Muslims.
This part of London, yeah.
Like when I go outside.
I wouldn't say that because even in London, you have they set up businesses, they set up all of that and stuff like that. But you have to understand something that those same Muslims still have the culture of I want to say the dominant culture around them. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. You can't just say that, there's the success in Islam because of because of the whole being around in London thing, because there's a lot of Muslims in London. You can't just say that it's just successful based on that. You can't say that. But let's continue on.
And I'm like, shit, dude, I better I couldn't even believe how many Muslims are here, and the women wearing the burqas and everything. I was just really super shocked.
Yeah, you don't really feel like you're in London.
None of that was in the James Bond movies I watched.
No, I think they've had a lot of King. How long you haven't been in England that long, have you? No, I heard they had like a lot of mass immigration in the past couple of years. A lot of countries will do that to offset birth.
And here we go. The right wing talking points are coming in just a few minutes.
Rates because white people just don't have kids.
Yeah, well, because anytime a country, it's not about white people either. Like, it's happening in Japan, it's happening in Korea.
Right.
The more industrialized a nation becomes, eventually the birth rate does take a hit. And once you're below 1.2, it's game over.
When I found out that Google was doing career certificates and they had one in data analytics, I thought it seems like
you can't, you literally can't replace, you're just on the downward spiral.
Wow.
So Korea's on the way out, Germany's on the way out, Japan's on the way out. Japan, they sold more senior diapers last.
So he's talking about industrialism, but he's not talking about the real elephant in the room. Okay? He's not talking about the real one in the room. And the real one is feminism. I wonder why he's leaving this out.
Last year than baby diapers.
Why is that? Okay, because I have such questions, because I always hear about how the women are better in Japan.
They are.
And based on I've been to Japan when I was a kid, and on top of that, just what I've seen, I believe it.
Yeah.
But why they don't? They have the biggest single childless women population.
Yeah, and it's because the Japanese work culture is probably the most extreme and most toxic on the planet, neck and neck with Korea.
Wow.
I think Koreans on average, the numbers are going to be off, but I think Koreans on average are working anywhere, I think 80 hours a week, 60 to 80 hours a week. And like just being a crazy workaholic is the social norm there. The Japanese have a word for sudden death from overwork. It's karoshi. And people will just be like going hard, working, stressing themselves out to the max, and just one day just die.
Wow.
Just from extreme amount of stress. This happened to women in their 20s, happened to men in their 20s, some people like in their 30s. They're just walking. And then a lot of them, honestly, like they just off themselves. They jump in front of the train and kill themselves.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big thing out there. Because, Japanese excellence is something to be definitely noticed in the world, because like the way the Japanese do something, like the customer service, the quality of their products, the efficiency is literally the best in the world. But it comes at a price of like extreme pressure. I can think that a lot of Japanese, when they leave Japan, they just feel like, oh, like I have escaped the pressure of Japan, So the extreme toxic work culture is why they don't get married, why they don't have children, because a lot of people just don't have time. Again, like in Japan, I think for men, it's like 27%. For women, it's 26%. But ages 18 to 39, these people have zero sexual experience. They're all virgins. That's 1 in 4 people in the whole country.
Do you think that's because of they have like a ton of debt, don't they?
Every country has debt.
No, but I thought theirs was one of the worst. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But so I'm wondering if they have to like work.
Nah.
No, that's not.
It's
just
not
the
that.
culture.
It's the work culture. I'm telling you, like there's a certain way to give your business card in Japan. You have to like hand it with 2 hands. They have to receive it with 2 hands. You got to take it, put it on top your business card holder, on top of the table, and then like whoever's senior on the rankings of the person in front of you, you have to put like their card at top and then put their card at the bottom. There's a way to bow when you're leaving. You got to hit them with the 90-degree angle, wait for the elevator to shut, keep your head down. There's just so many rules and so many nuances to like everyday business that make it just hyper stressful for the average person in Japan. And they adhere to it. And I love Japanese culture, but that's a part that is absolutely detrimental. There's just like this toxic work culture.
Welcome to the JPT gang, Super RC. Got another one. But yeah, when I went to Japan when I was a kid, I was like
Really?
12. Yeah, my mom sent me there by myself.
What'd you do?
I stayed with her friend from high school. My mom literally sent me on a plane by myself at 12.
Get out of here.
I was obsessed with Japan when I was a kid.
Really?
I had a manga phase.
Really? What kind of manga?
I don't remember the books anymore because it was like when I was in middle school, but I used to draw it too.
Yeah.
And then my mom, I guess there were some inappropriate manga stuff. Like it was pretty graphic, and my mom was like, "What are you reading?" And then she like banned me from manga.
Do you know that the #1 selling comics in the world now are Japanese manga?
I believe it. I remember really liking them.
Because you know why?
Why?
Because Japanese refuse to go woke.
Oh.
It's just no woke bullshit. There's strict gender roles. They draw sexy women. They draw masculine shit. They're just like, you know what? I play video games.
All of the movies now, the main chick is
All right. So that's enough of that. Let's see what a Muslim think. So you even have like you are, again, it comes from battling from ideas. You have even Muslim women who will go against their own men, and what I will say is that sometimes we're all capable of errors. I will say that as well. But what I'm saying is the battle for ideas, right? The battle for ideas are are very important, right? So um and she made some things about it. And unfortunately also what I want to say is that certain Muslim YouTubers will use what Pearl said for clout as well, you know. Um you know what's sad? You know what's very sad about this whole situation? What I'm going to say. This is what's sad about this whole situation. And again, it comes from the battle of ideas. The people that you need to hear, the people that you need to listen to, the people who are like authorities on Islam, right? They're not really that popular. You're not going to really hear about them. You know what I mean? They're not going to really have a big space because that's not what their goal is. Their goal is to simply just carry on the message and also give the reminder to the believers, you know. That's what their goal is. But you know what's unfortunate? That people, you know, unfortunately will use Islam as like a grift, you know what I mean? And it's really, really sad. Um, so for me, for example, I just have completely different people that I draw inspiration from. You know, I don't draw any inspiration from like a I hate to say it, but I really don't draw inspiration from a Sneeko, from like a Fresh and Fit, from a Just Curly Things or anything like that, because you know we already have the examples. We already had the examples, you know. So the thing is, let's see what and then shout outs to Mahdi Tijani. Um Shout outs to Mahdi Tijani in his content because he's pretty much right down the middle. He pretty much has the good thing, you know.
But then on the other hand, we don't mind giving men top caliber men, top 10%, 1% men, a free pass to sleep with women indiscriminately as a reward for them having reached the upper echelon of earners, basically. And this is where Islam comes and it fetters this polygyny, basically. It fetters a man. It says it's okay, you can have multiple women if you're able to take care of them. Okay, so there are prerequisites. You're able to house them and take care of them and so on. And you can have up to 4. You can have 4 women, no problem. But anything above and beyond that, that's prohibited. One of the major
And yeah, you know, and that's the thing about Islam is that Islam, you know, what I will say about Islam is that Islam is the balanced religion. You know, it knows of a man's like innate nature, you know, and it's like, okay, well, you know, if you can't control that innate nature, then we will allow you to have more than one woman, but there's conditions with that having that more than one woman. You can't just like go around having many women. There has to be a sense of responsibility on your part for having those women. So that's where the Islam comes in at, you know. Um so uh yeah, but I'm just gonna give an example of like the dudes I listen to, you know. Hold on. Hold on, let me see. So I guess she have a different channel now. I guess I guess she like rebranding herself, and it's from um it's I guess it's from uh from just pearly things to just pearly clips. But one thing that's ironic, this is what's ironic about just pearly things. She cannot think of anything original herself, because the whole thing about just pearly things uh and now just pearly clips, the whatever podcast had the whatever podcast has whatever podcast, but it also has whatever podcast clips. So she can't even think of her own stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she was on whatever podcast. I believe she was on that podcast and stuff like that. So, she can't even like be original, man. That's the thing about her. There's no sense of originality, man. None at all. But I want to play something. I know this guy is just a head of state, but you can like learn a lot from his mannerisms and from how he carry himself. I want to play something real quick. I have a real new respect for this man. Okay, let's play him.
France and the United States both stated that Mali is using Russian paramilitaries from the Wagner Group for its security needs. What do you have to reply to this, and what is the current state of Mali's relations with Russia?
Thank you for your question. I think this question has been answered enough, and our talking points remain the same for months. And Mali, where we are now, we want to turn this page, because for us, this is not the most important issue. Mali have decided to continue its state-to-state cooperation with Russia, which is a historic relationship between.
So the reason why I show this is because you see the man's mannerisms, you see the total difference between him and like these so-called red pillars, you know what I mean? Like you can learn from just his mannerisms alone. There's like a lot you can take from it. He basically told her like, yo, we're friends with Russia, okay? We've told you over and over again, you're just talking about the same thing, that we are going to be friends with Russia. Okay?
Between two countries, dated back from the independence of Mali. Mali makes its choice of partnership based on its needs and principle of win-win collaboration and respectful relationship with each partner. And we want to take into account also the comparative advantage that we take from each partner. Today, Mali as a country is fighting for its survival. What is important for us is to provide security and to protect our population. And we have decided to invest in our military, to invest in redesigning new military strategy for our country. And this is what we are doing today. And Russia is a partner in that endeavor, but Mali is not close to any partner. Mali is open to all partners.
Okay. You see how he just like elegantly words this? Very elegant words, man. But there was another part I wanted to play. Hold on.
House. But they're all
okay. Here we go.
Mali, they're invited. That is our decision on that. When we make our decision, if other countries comes in Mali, They're invited, they're guests, but those guests cannot decide when you visit my house, where you want to sit, what I should be eating, who I should be receiving in my house, but they're all welcome.
So again, you know, when you look at this, right, he's just explaining like, yo, you're more than welcome to come. You're more than welcome to even do business with me. But you're not going to tell me how to do business. You're not going to tell me who to do business with. But I'm just more impressed with his mannerisms, because you have seen head of states completely lose it. You have seen people in interviews like just completely lose it. So, you know, with this Abdullahi Job, I have a new respect for him. One thing that I didn't know is that, yes, he's highly educated. And what I also didn't know is that he actually wasn't even born in Mali. He was born in, I think, Brazzaville in the Congo. So he came to, I guess he had Malian, I guess his relatives were in Mali or something like that. But the fact that he came to Mali to serve as a patriot says a lot as well. Well, let's continue.
If they respect that when you come to somebody's place, you need also to respect this rule. When I'm in the United States, I will not question the relationship of the United States with the other countries. They make it based on their own interests and their own consideration. Of course, we have values, and Mali, once again, is mindful of his commitment to human rights conventions, but also we have a history. We remind people the respect for human rights. We are not taking it from the international, the current international convention. Mali is an ancient civilization in the medieval era. In 1236, Mali under the Empire of Mali under Sundiata Keita has adopted a constitution before many modern constitution, which is the constitution of Kuru Kamfuga. And one of the key principles of that constitution is the respect for human being, the respect for human life. We still remain committed to that. And we want to make sure that whenever a situation happens in the field, that our military also account if there are any.
So he even busted out with like old ancient constitution. You know, this man is very, very impressive, you know. So not only did he say, yo, we're friends with who we want to be friends with, he also said, hey, our history has a he's saying that, yo, we're gonna do our thing, and this is based off of our old civilization, which is very, 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 very amazing.
Aviation, like in any army, in the field, U.S. Army or French Army, in some situation, have also commit human rights abuses, but just to make sure that there is a just there.
So without going too much off the deep end, he said, you guys are talking about human rights abuses, but you guys committed human rights abuses as well, you know. So, and this is not a form of deflection. It's just that the pot is calling the kettle black. You know what I mean? That's just what it is, you know. And it's like the same thing with the modern woman. Like she may be trying to call you out on something. Like, oh, it's your fault. Like, for example, they'll be like, oh, it's your fault that's like such and such and such is going on. It's your fault I cheated because you're never at home. You're always working. Meanwhile, that guy is working, so she does not have to work. Right? It's crazy. But give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Actually, I'm going to take an intermission right now for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
investigation, the justice system to address those. But there is no systemic there is no decision from the government to say we want to target a specific ethnic group or a specific segment of Mali population. So this is it's a long response, but this is our understanding. We need to go beyond these specific considerations.
So a follow-up question. So about those human rights issues, some investigations are being made right now. Can you confirm and tell us?
So what I'm saying is that, like, again, when it comes to these battle of ideas, like, if you consume like Just Pearly Things or like Fresh and Fit, or he has accepted Islam, but here's the thing, like, about the acceptance of Islam. Yeah, it's a good thing that they accept Islam, but how much legwork or how much groundwork are they going to put in to, for example, like, understand the faith? For example, like, live in accordance to the faith. That remains to be seen. Because if you're like with the same group of people that you had, and the end goal isn't to try to, for example, like, not win them over, but just give them an inclination that, hey, maybe this is the way I should go, then it's kind of like, okay, well, what is the point, right? But if you have, like, I mean, I don't expect anybody to know or care about a Malian diplomat, but just the way he answered those questions so elegantly, you can learn from, just about keeping frame when people ask these dumb questions and things like that. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying, that, like, again, you can even learn more from this guy than you would be able to learn from the other people that people consume. Let's see if there's any more with him. There's one in French. I guess I can translate a little bit. Let's see.
What if you could do SEO smarter and faster? With Wix, you can edit your meta tag.
Bonjour Monsieur Diop, bienvenue en Russie. Donc vous sortez de votre conférence de presse de votre rencontre avec votre homologue russe, Sergei Lavrov. Donc qu'attend le Mali de la coopération avec la Russie? Est-ce que vous êtes satisfait de votre échange avec votre homologue russe?
Okay, so the first question she of course asked is how, like, she basically said, welcome, thank you for coming, and what have you. Now she's asking, of course, how is the collaboration with Russia, and are you content? She went right for the jugular at the beginning of the interview, and you can tell that although he's calm and stuff like that, he's like, oh, here we go again. You can tell by the look on his face. He's like, oh, here we go again. But let's listen.
Absolument, nous sommes satisfaits. Nous avons une
So he's saying, yes, we're satisfied with the collaboration with Russia. He's saying that, yes.
Excellente relation de coopération avec la Russie. C'est une ancienne relation.
And so he's saying this collaboration has been old. And the thing is, what you have to realize is that the collaboration is indeed an old one, because I think when Modibo Keita was the leader of Mali, he was able to they had collaboration with one another, Mali and the former USSR. But let's continue.
Relation de coopération qui s'est renforcée au fil des ans, qui a connu aussi des périodes de bas, et aujourd'hui nous sommes dans une phase de reprise. Nous avons une très bonne coopération sur le plan sécuritaire, sur le plan de la formation, Mais nous souhaitons que cette coopération qui est très bonne sur le plan sécuritaire, aussi très bonne sur le plan politique, sur le plan international.
So he's saying things are going well, you know, that they're collaborating on security, that they're collaborating on like the protection of Mali and, you know, of course, militarily. And he's like, they're excellent. They're going good right now.
Que nous puissions aussi lui donner un socle économique.
He also said there's economic collaboration too.
Où il faut renforcer les échanges entre les pays. C'est d'ailleurs l'objectif de notre présence ici à Moscou, à la tête d'une importante délégation ministérielle malienne avec la présence du ministre de l'économie et des finances, du ministre en charge des infrastructures et des transports, mais aussi du ministre
working on like transportation infrastructure as well. That's what he said.
En charge des mines, de l'énergie et de l'eau. Donc,
energy as well.
Ensemble de ces conversations.
Now, the thing is, again, do you think that, you know, if this was like with France or something like that, do you think that France would provide these same like things? Because when you look at it, right, you can kind of, okay, France is like equivalent to the modern woman who says, oh, I just want a guy to treat me right. I just want a guy to like treat me with respect and treat me like, you know, I just want a guy that buys me flowers. I just want a guy who opens doors. You know, that's what France is equivalent to. You know, they say one thing, but they really mean another, and they really do another. Whereas Russia is that traditional girl who's like basically kind of meek, but it's letting you know, hey, I'm there for you, you know, and I will be there for you if you, you know, just like do your part of the bargain too. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
On visait vraiment à renforcer ou en tout cas sécuriser l'approvisionnement du pays en produits de première nécessité dans le domaine des hydrocarbures et vraiment voir aussi comment on peut coopérer pour la reprise en main des chemins de fer au niveau du Mali et voir de façon générale comment on peut renforcer cette relation économique et commerciale. Et parce que bon, ces secteurs-là sont des secteurs aujourd'hui stratégiques qui touchent vraiment les populations maliennes. C'est pourquoi l'État s'est mis en avant pour pouvoir venir discuter directement avec les autorités russes, mais aussi avec les privés, pour voir ensemble quelles sont les modalités et pour faire en sorte que l'approvisionnement du pays ne soit pas affecté malgré aujourd'hui les perturbations qui sont créées au niveau de l'économie mondiale, au niveau même du Mali, qui est aussi un pays sous embargo économique et financier.
Justement, Sergueï Lavrov a parlé des livraisons de blé, d'engrais, de produits pétroliers. Donc, dans le contexte justement des sanctions, d'embargo, pensez-vous que ça pourrait être une solution, d'une certaine façon, une aide?
So she's saying that, like, you know, with like, I guess the embargo, with, you know, because unfortunately we will say this, you know, we will say that you know, Russia is indeed like having an arms embargo on or oil embargo on itself, you know, like it pretty much can't like sell oil or anything like that, you know what I mean? It has to go around and do certain things. And I guess Mali was receiving oil. I don't know if Mali has natural gas. I'm not sure if Mali has natural gas, but the fact of the matter is it was receiving probably natural gas from Russia, and so now they're looking at a solution.
Pour le Mali?
Nous estimons d'abord par principe le Mali est opposé à la politique des sanctions. Étant nous-mêmes un pays sous sanctions, comme nous l'avons dit, il ne faut pas s'attendre à ce que le Mali puisse encourager ou soutenir une politique de sanctions. Nous pensons que ce n'est jamais la solution. Mais nous estimons qu'il y a un certain nombre de secteurs clés aujourd'hui, notamment les engrais qui contribuent à la production alimentaire. Le Mali est un pays à vocation agroalimentaire et aujourd'hui nous savons tous que l'insécurité alimentaire fait plus de morts que le terrorisme ou l'insécurité. Donc il est important que même quand il y a des mesures de restriction qui sont en place, il y a un certain nombre de secteurs qui sont aujourd'hui stratégiques, comme par exemple la production de blé. Le pain est consommé dans tous nos pays et par l'ensemble de la population, et que si ces produits venaient à manquer sur le marché, comme c'est le cas actuellement, cela peut aussi conduire à l'accroissement de la pauvreté, mais aussi même à des tensions sociales au niveau de nos pays. Ceci n'est pas souhaitable. Donc, quelles que soient ces mesures, je pense que la communauté internationale doit faire preuve de discernement dans l'application de ces mesures et faire en sorte que les populations.
So he said in essence that, these sanctions, they're all political and what have you. However, he still feels that's like, in the area that the sanctions will not affect the areas of like social, development. And he also said that those sanctions will not affect the area of, just like development overall. That's how he feels.
populations les plus vulnérables et les plus pauvres ne puissent pas payer les frais de cette situation.
Mais justement, à cause de la crise alimentaire qui se profile actuellement dans le monde, l'Afrique pourrait être la plus affectée par cette crise alimentaire, justement, qui se profile actuellement. Et donc, pensez-vous que les livraisons russes pourraient être une solution?
En tout cas, pour le cas spécifique du Mali, qui cette année déjà a enregistré une production record de coton, près de 700 000 tonnes de coton. Le Mali est le premier producteur africain de coton, sans parler aussi des céréales et autres que nous produisons. Nous estimons que si nous avons un accès adéquat aux engrais, aux intrants agricoles, il est absolument possible que nous puissions produire suffisamment pour nourrir notre population. Donc, si ce n'est pas ces situations, je crois que justement, ce type d'appui qui peut venir dans ce domaine, par exemple, j'ai pris l'exemple des engrais, l'exemple du blé aussi. S'il y a des facilités à ce niveau, je crois que ça ne peut qu'atténuer, parce que nous devons toujours, dans tout ce que nous faisons, penser à l'impact sur l'humain, les conséquences humanitaires de ces mesures, et pour pouvoir trouver quand même.
So I'm just playing the video just to see that, like, from his mannerisms, that if you're like a guy and things like that, you can learn from these mannerisms. I hate to say it, but I would not want to learn from these mannerisms. Let's see. Hold on.
So you have this entire machine that is geared towards financially extorting women and lying to them and saying, you're going to be more happy with a Birkin bag. You're going to be more happy with Chanel glasses. You're going to be more happy with all this consumerism. Being a mother is oppressive. Being a good wife and having a man taking care of you, that is going to be a detriment to you. And a lot of these women go through their 20s. They're like, got their degree. They do all that the society tells them they should do. And then they're like 30 and they're like, I'm lonely and I have a stressful job and I have $100,000 in debt, and they're waking up to this now. That's what the whole thing about it. It's all about money. It's not like a conspiracy theory, the reptiles, the Jews, the flying spaghetti monster, whatever. It's all about money.
Well, you don't want to have mannerisms like him, so to say. I would word it. This is how I would word it. I would say that while women were given the option to work, and most men had no problem with women given the option to work, the women decided that the work was going to become more of a priority than the mothering duties and things like that, because the work that they decided to take upon themselves was usually most of the time meant for men. But as they said that they wanted to get in these fields, they had to fulfill the conditions of being in those fields. And so a lot of those conditions are long hours. And, you know, with long hours, they weren't prepared to, you know, fix their husband like food or take care of the kids. And this is what happened, you know. At least that's what I would say, you know. But let's look at this guy. I don't like, I'm not gonna buy any courses I'm not gonna buy any courses from him, but me and him are kind of on the same page when it comes to who we you know, deal with in terms of like the content. And me personally, like, for example, like his goal, like him, this guy that I'm about to play, his is more of like getting guys to just basically date better. That's his whole situation. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he wants. That's his angle. It's like getting guys to, you know, be more successful in the dating game. But, you know, I don't know how he goes about it. I'm not going to talk about how he goes about it. I'm not going to say it's a grift. I'm not going to say it's a scam or anything like that. I don't know the guy. But what I do know is that he exposes the people that need to be exposed. So let's check it out.
One spot available. Okay. And you have to be wary of people that are continuously trying to sell you a solution. What makes me different from the rest of the people in the space? He's actually having threesomes and fucking banging hot girls and doing stuff that he never thought he'd be able to do. Guys, about why you can trust me and why you can trust my system to deliver a permanent and final solution to your dating goals and to your dating problems for the rest of your life. Okay, what makes me different from the rest of the people in the space? Before we get into that, I have a couple of quick announcements. We have with Josh, who's program. Okay, it's a 5-day wealth of experience, et cetera, et cetera. How do I know that I can trust you and that won't happen to me? Okay, number one, I actively speak out against all these motherfuckers in the space that are full of shit, that are fake gurus, that are lying, scamming, pretending to be real experts at the dating game. I call them all out by name. I call them out viciously. I hate them as much as you guys do. I think they're a nuisance. They're disrespecting the craft that I devoted my life to. And they're frankly just wasting people's time and increasing guys' pain and suffering. So number one, I attack all these people and call out all the fucked up shit that they're doing. Number two, you don't have to take my word for it that my stuff works. We have over 1,000 testimonials on a page. You can see, we'll put the proof page link in the description.
So at least what he does, you know, and this is the good thing about him, is he's showing that his body of work, you know, he's showing that, okay, this is my body of work. This is what I did and things like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not seen nobody with the Fresh and Fit body of work or any of the other people that they hang around with, you know, having a body of work of other people, like actually saying, hey, you know, this helped me. These people changed me.
And you can go to that. We'll show the full proof page and you can go and look through, and there's over 1,000 testimonials of guys typically getting results like 1 to 2 new girls per week with my training, which comes out to 50 to 100 girls a year, and putting about 1 girl on rotation per week, which means in my 8-week program, in my 2 months program, I've made everything extremely systematic. Some people bought the internet marketer products like Pandora's Box or Tao of Badass or Girlfriend Activation System. Okay, these were just full-blown scams that didn't work, that had good over from Simple Pickup. Some people bought the internet, been fucked over by Real Social Dynamics or Todd V Dating or James Marshall from Natural Lifestyles. Okay, back in the day, they got fucked over from simple pickup. Some people bought the internet marketer products like Pandora's Box or Tao of Badass or Girlfriend Activation System. Okay, these were just full-blown scams that didn't work, that had good marketing behind them, and reeled people in hook, line, and sinker, and then made them come back to buy more solutions. Okay, you have to be wary of people that are continuously trying to sell you a solution. My 8-week program is the be-all, end-all. The 5-day immersion in Miami takes things to the next level because I can work with you for 5 days straight, and I can also see how you're interacting with girls at bars and clubs and during the daytime. So I get that a lot of you have been burned. I get that a lot of you are jaded. I get that a lot of you have been scammed. I get that a lot of you are very skeptical that my stuff can work like I say it can. And rightfully so. I totally understand that, and I totally get where you're coming from.
So what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be honest with you, is that at least with this guy, like he kind of have like a emphasizing, he kind of emphasizing with guys who, this is their choice, that they want to stay in this dating market, like the choice is theirs, that they want to stay in the dating market. So for those guys who are staying in the dating market, it is kind of like good of him that he is actually, like, I want to say, emphasizing with their struggles and things like that. So I can't say, that's one thing that I give him props on,
coming from. I would feel the same way. Okay, if I were in the shoes of someone who had paid a bunch of fucking money and not gotten any better. I want to tell a quick story. I had a client named Craig who came to me at age 42. Okay, now Craig is a lawyer in Orlando, very successful, also 6'2", also was dressing very well. So he had the money handled, he had the height, he had the style, okay, and he works out a bunch. You would think he'd get a bunch of girls. No. From age 32 to 42, the 10 years before Craig came to me, he tried a bunch of different methodologies.
And so this just goes to show you, like a lawyer, for example, like, and this goes to show you that, even if you reach your apex, that still may not be good enough for these women. Because, here you have a lawyer, and he's tall, above average height, and he works out, and yet he still had trouble with the women. This shows you a lot about the times we're living in.
He paid a bunch of different coaches. He soaked up a bunch of content and paid, for different programs, all this stuff. And he went from 2 lay count at the start of age 32 to 2 lay count by age 42, which means in that 10-year span, he got laid 0 times. But he was trying very hard through that whole period. And again, he was tall, dresses well, has a good job as a lawyer that's prestigious, and had money, and it was in good shape. So you'd think with all those things, plus dating training, that he would get better, or at least get laid sometimes. Not the case. Okay, then he found my stuff. What changed? I gave him an optimized strategy. I gave him a battle-tested system where every single piece of advice that I give has been rigorously data tested and verified and vetted, where it has been evolved and optimized over time relentlessly over the course of 20 years. I'm a hyper-analytical optimizer. I come from a background of systems engineering at Lockheed Martin, working on missile defense. And I also...
So the thing is about him is, too, with this guy, I can say, if, and maybe perhaps if I were into that, I wanted to date here, let's just say if I wanted to like get involved in dating here, what I would say is that he would hold more weight than the other guys because of the simple fact of his background. You know what I mean? I don't, when you look at just Pearly Thing's background, when you look at the like thereof and their background, these people, I mean, not many can say that, they were involved in this kind of, I guess you can say, engineering type of background,
Also come from a computer science background where I think very algorithmically and analytically. Okay, and that's why I resonate with a bunch of different viewers who are engineers or software people or, crypto people, people that trade stocks, etc., because they think of these things the same way I do. Okay, they think of systems and algorithms and methodologies and processes. So I'm never just giving like my opinion, like, oh, I think this part of the game is like this, and it could be wrong. No. If I could ever find any way of doing any piece of the system better, and I'm always on the lookout, even in the modern day, trying to meet the next best guys in the game, trying to find anybody that's better than me at any area of game, with the sincere hope that I could then modify my game accordingly and get an even higher result from that part of the game. I'm constantly trying to fortify it and make it stronger and stronger and stronger and better and more effective. That is why my system is the best in the industry. That's why it produces the best results. And it's all very scientific. Okay, it's not just, oh, I think your game's getting better. No, you can measure how many of your dates convert into hookups, how many of your hookups convert into keeping the girl around, how many of your phone numbers convert into dates, okay, et cetera, et cetera. Now, going back to the story with Craig, when Craig trained with me in 8 weeks, he ended up sleeping with 7 new girls. Okay, and there's testimonials on our testimonial page about that. He's come on my channel and done videos about it. In that 10 years, got laid 0 times, tried with lots of coaches, took up all kinds of information from YouTube and from other creators, and everybody wasted 10 years of his life. Okay, it's a huge fucking shame that he had to waste time, effort, and money. But he can never get those 10 years back. From age 32 to 42, he essentially got fucking dicked around and fucking people just took him for a ride. Okay, there's no other way to.
And so what I want to say about that is that, again, this is what it comes down to. It's the battle for ideas. You know what I mean? The thing is, I will say this, that if you just consume this content all the time, the fresh and fits and the like thereof, then, you know what I mean, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? I think the best thing for you is find out what works for you. I'm not going to suggest to date in this environment. I'm not going to suggest it, but if you decide that you are going to date, find what works best for you and just move on and move accordingly. But what I will say is that if you do decide to date, it's not going to be for marriage. You're don't expect to find a wife throughout this situation.
Just say it plainly. People fucked him over. A lot of you are in that boat. Some of you have been fucked over for many years, some for more than 10 years, some just some months. Some of you are going to get fucked over in the future because you get reeled into these other channels that show no proof, that show no testimonials, that show no actual ability to back up their talk. And then
and that's the fact, like when you look at them, like for example, Jeff Waller or something said, I got black people who follow me. Yeah, it's like, okay, where? Show me one of your quote unquote black disciples that you said you have following you. But let me see what else he let me see what else he did. Okay. Now, I want to say this, okay? I want to say this. And I'm going to say this. I don't know. I think he's like ex-Muslim or something like that. I thought he was Muslim. I only listened to one video of his, and that's it. I only listened to only one video, and that was enough for me to show that, okay, this guy pretty much had no Like, no, we had no correlation, even with his name being Hamza. But let's go ahead and listen.
People stuff is weird for me because I'm not normal anymore. I'm not normal anymore. I'm not normal anymore. I'm not normal anymore.
Adonis. What's up, guys?
And so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, you know, unfortunately, and this is just a sad truth, that sometimes Islam becomes a grift, you know, and sometimes even just having a Muslim name may attract people to you. You know what I mean? That may reel people in, and then again it becomes a grift. But let's continue.
It's John Anthony here from John Anthony Lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Hamza's ex-girlfriend exposing the dark side of Hamza. Okay, the old Hamza. There's a dark side in the fucking new Hamza too. Okay, namely he has 26 products. He's peddling a whole host of bullshit.
Oh, I didn't even know he sold products either. I didn't even know that he offered products.
Backing his dumb views with a fictional character named Adonis, who's supposed to represent the ideal man. Okay, and then he strawmans the opposition with this Jeffrey character of doing a pinch zoom and a high-pitched voice. And that is Hamza's content in a nutshell. Okay, he lives at home, you know, other things going on there, right? Acute hearing. Again, he's brought a bunch of his girls on camera that he's dated. They all look like shit. What a surprise. He self-admittedly tried to go through dating stuff and went down red pill, you know, content and got chewed up and spit out. Okay, and he brought the fucking ugly chicks around and showed them off on camera. And now he's out there telling you how to get girls. Okay, just another fucking dork living at home, not a fucking clue. Okay, let's jump right in.
Like throughout our relationship, obviously you said like my insecurity is your responsibility, which to some extent it is.
So again, you know, like he went for a Karen, you know, and I don't know what part, I don't know if he's South Asian or what he is, but this, you know, everybody has their preference, but it just shows you that like the colonial mindset, you know, it runs deep with these people. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. The colonial mindset, runs deep with them. You know, and yeah, this is why this is just me personally, I stayed away from them a lot of the time. I stayed away from I stayed away from I stayed away from the women, you know, and I still stay away from the Southeast Asian Muslim women. You know, I'm going to be honest. I know people think this is the case, that they're checking for black guys like that, but you will go through a lot to you will go through a lot to, I guess you can say, bag one in. You know, you'll go through a lot. You will go through very, very much to try to bag one, you know. It's not worth it, basically. So let's continue.
But then you also said things that like very much contradicted that. So I remember when you said to me, this wasn't when we were just like seeing each other. This was when, I don't think we were in a relationship at this point, but I think this is when we both stopped like seeing other people. And when you said to me that you would, I can't even remember what the context it was.
She's like, Hamza, are you listening to me? He's like, halfway.
Said in. But I remember you saying that you'd have sex with my auntie.
Hamza said he'd have sex with her auntie. Yeah, that's what you get for dating a fucking dork loser.
And I remember you saying,
Look at him. He's like,
that if we weren't in like, we weren't in a relationship at this point, but we weren't not in a relationship. I can't remember like when we were like exclusive or whatever the hell that means. And I remember that really upset me at the time. And I remember thinking like, why did you say that? Like it wasn't exactly necessary.
Because he's a dork. Okay, he's like talked many times how he just like was super into jerking off. And again, he lives at home. He's a fucking loser. Okay, the girls he's brought on, including this one, all looked.
So the thing is, and I don't know if this is true or not, if he lives at home, I mean, I don't know how to describe his parents. If like, you know, I don't know, for example, if his parents have any control over you know, I don't know if his parents really accept this, or they just decided, hey, you know, I'm just going to you know, we just have to put up with him, so to say, because if we get rid of him, then it may be worse off for him. I don't know. But let's continue.
Terrible. Okay. He admittedly got destroyed trying to do Dating Red Pill. So instead, he said, why don't I just go fucking make a shitload of money pretending that I know what I'm talking about? And here we can lend some credence to my ideas with this fictional Adonis character. And everyone's like, well, I don't know if I buy into this opinion here by this Hamza guy. And then you hear Adonis. And Adonis is like, yep, that's pretty much how it is. And everyone's like, well, that settles it. Adonis.
And also another thing when you say that your love is conditional and that all it would take is a conversation with your ex for you to get feelings with them again. And it's like, yeah, like, it's not that big of a deal to say things like that, but also it's you saying that I should be aware of your insecurities. And I was very, I can't remember what the word was that you used, but I wasn't empathetic.
We're like about to have a poker game go down over here. People are arriving.
Towards you and your insecurities, in terms of me saying that it wasn't fair for you to say that you would break up with me if I went to a nightclub, but then you played on my insecurities.
He would break up with her if she went to a nightclub. Red pill fucking dictatorship. It's like Donovan Sharp. Hey, you can't look at a man in public. I'm going to be ordering your own food. You can't take a phone to the bathroom. I will be, you know, saying when you can leave and when you can't. Like these like fucking dictatorship. Like,
no, you know, I wouldn't want like a woman to like go to the club or even have those inclinations to go to a club. That means like you're like maybe like having the wrong type of woman, basically, you know. And granted, this guy, I would assume that he was born Muslim. Why wouldn't he, for example, he knows that, I don't know how the situation is. I hear the situation is really bad in the UK with Muslims, but at least you would have maybe a better chance of finding a woman who didn't go to the club if you decided to just stick with Islam, which he did not do.
Like, I'm going to monitor every little move you make shit. It's fucking weird. And for the record, okay, as we continue to watch these two losers here in this dumb situation, if you'd like a lot more, sorry, my dogs are fucking going nuts. If you'd like a lot more matches, a lot more phone numbers, a lot more dates, a lot more hookups, a lot more girls in rotation, we can solve all those problems for you very quickly. We're usually packing guys' schedules full of dates within 1 to 2 weeks. So book one of those free 30-minute calls if you want us to solve all your dating stuff very quickly. Okay, let's continue.
I think it's very hypocritical for you to say that I wasn't empathetic towards you when you literally said to me, Hamza, that you would have sex with my auntie. That, like, there's no context for that to ever come up in conversation.
Good thing your auntie wouldn't have sex with him.
And then the next time my auntie came over, you went and gave her a hug. And I remember you turned around and
Because he's a fucking creep. And then he probably jerked off to that situation 100 times in private.
said to me, sorry, I'm getting upset.
Imagining that he was Adonis. Adonis. Is the chick crying now? Guys like this just shouldn't be allowed to have a platform. Okay, he's a huge loser, trying to be the cool guy, trying to be the expert, trying to be the guru, and he's hurting a lot of people. Okay, he can't even get his own fucking basic relationship straight, and chicks don't like him. And then he's going to go forth and sell 26 products over the course of a couple of years. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and you gave her a hug.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a fucking creep. He's telling the girl how he would bang her auntie multiple times, and then when she arrives, he's going and like making unwanted physical contact like a fucking total creep.
And then I remember you turned around and said to me afterwards, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you were like, oh, you're getting anxious. I was like, no, I wasn't before, but I am now. And you said about the auntie thing, you were like, oh, like if we were still seeing each other, like I'd try and make it happen. Like I could see it happening. Like, what? Who says that to my girlfriend?
A fucked up kid who doesn't know shit, who works.
I'm gonna be honest with you too. A lot of time too, I hate to say it, but a lot of time, especially on Clubhouse, I'll say, is that you do have these kind of degenerate like South Asians, and you also have like degenerate Somalis on the app who do kind of have these kind of leanings for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just what it is,
Worships a fictional character who has an addiction to fapping, okay, who's churning out products, robbing people literally blind, and pushing them extremely far away from getting proper results in dating by convincing them to delete Tinder, stop going to clubs, and a bunch of other nonsense. Okay, that's why. And he makes a fucking busted chick cry by being a creep. Par for the course. Go Hamza. Make sure you guys watch my video on the end screen where I talk more about Hamza in detail.
Oh, sorry, I don't want to get upset, but
which is backed by Adonis, mind you, help little tactics.
For example, going on social media, going
in this chick ever.
On like one of the.
Watch my video on the end screen to learn more about Hamza and what a fuckhead he is. Let me know what you think of this dummy in the comments. Like and subscribe. I'm about to go play poker. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see everybody on a video soon. Take care.
And of course, I knew at that point I'm not going to like tell her that I'm playing video games or whatever. I was really doing like fapping or something. I'm not going to.
He's Jeffrey. That's why the voice is so easy and the impersonations are so easy. He's going to be always Jeffrey. Adonis is like this guy he wished from John Anthony Lifestyle. In today's video, we're to symbolize the ideal man, presents the opposing position, used against the opposition by shit. They're all below average. And he's admitted that he like tried the dating game and failed because he's a fucking loser. He doesn't know how to carry himself. Okay. And he's a dork. So what he did as a cope is he did this like intense introspection and focusing on self-development. So he's like, oh, just go balls to the wall and prove yourself, man, and everything will work out. No, it's not how it works. And I heard that he recently moved back home with mom and dad as well. He was living in his fucking parents' house like a loser. He moved to Thailand and became this like Muay Thai, masquerading as a Muay Thai warrior and all this nonsense and trying to show off and this and that. I heard he recently moved back home to mom and dad's house.
I will link in the description our testimonial page, our proof page, which has over 1,000 testimonials on it. We have stories.
On a date with him right now. You got this, Jeffrey. We all believe in you. But then Jeffrey does something that most guys.
Now keep in mind, this is Hamza giving these advice and points. Hamza can't bang hot girls. Hamza can't even bang average looking girls. He's a reject. Girls snub him. Girls fucking blow him off. So he's like clung to this like intense self-development journey, okay, because that's not contingent upon girls' acceptance. And now he's going to give you advice about dating.
He begins to tell Jessica everything about his life. I work at
Point being, he's not an authority in the dating game. He has no idea what he's talking about.
the shop over there. I wake up at 2 p.m. sometimes. I have bad mental health. I'm really actually quite lonely. I love to play League of Legends and Valorant and have the anxious attack.
So you see, again, when you have these kind of ideas, right? When you have these kind of ideas, you're better off just leaving them alone. Because it's just,
attachment style. Jessica gets less and less attracted to him as the day goes on, and she starts to even feel a little bit repulsed by him. After the date, she doesn't even reply to any more of his messages. She's just ghosted him. Adonis.
Cue Adonis. And it's in Hamza's voice too. Adonis.
Adonis sees Jeffrey sitting alone and looking sad. Jeffrey, my boy, what troubles you? I was on a date.
It's so cringe too. Hamza's doing all the voices.
with
the fake characters.
Jessica, but then when I told her everything about me, she got bored and left. Adonis, of course, knew what the issue was. She felt unattracted because you killed all the mystery, young Jeffrey. Attraction can only be intense when mystery is involved. Jeffrey thought about what Adonis had told him and realized where he had gone wrong. He told Jessica everything about his life. He followed all the normal advice that he'd seen up to this point in his life, that he should open up and talk about his interests and his hobbies and tell her everything. He will not make the same mistake again.
All right, there we have it. So the point is, don't tell girls stuff about you because she'll lose interest, because then you're not mysterious. Okay, that's dog shit advice. Let's look at it for what it is on its face value. I've been on well over 1,000 dates. Okay, far more than this Hamza dumbass could ever even dream of, with girls that he can only jerk off to. Okay, hundreds and hundreds of really hot girls, and current leg count 1,640. Okay, after a threesome last night with two 22-year-olds, and this dumb fuck. Okay,
so this guy, I guess you can say, his goal is just like, again, the dating game. So I don't knock him for that. That his goal is the dating game, right? To be involved in the dating game, right? Maybe my audience, I would hope, have different objectives. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna knock him for it. I'm not gonna knock him for this thing. The reason why I knock the other guys is because they swear up and down that they're not playing the game that he's playing, but they're actually are playing the game.
He's not going to open up on the dates. He gets snubbed. He's been that fucking crying little Jeffrey, and now he's taken to the internet to fucking rage back against girls and try to enlighten others. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Okay, before we proceed with this nonsense, I have the entire dating game figured out to the letter. I know exactly what to do and say.
17.
He's always got to wear the hood too to compensate. Okay, I can't say why, but I think you can guess.
Almost 8.
Like you can see it there.
18 years old, and I'm just getting a little bit comfortable texting girls, and they're actually replying to me for the first time in my life. I'm about to go on some dates. So imagine I've got a date booked and we're going to go meet in town center at a cafe, get some coffee and just walk around. And imagine the date is booked 3 days from now on Friday. Do you think I would have left it there? Or do you think younger me would have been one of those guys, maybe like yourself, who would have continued to keep on texting her?
So now he's positioning himself. Younger him made mistakes. Now he's a dating authority. The girls he brings on camera, cannot stress it enough, look like shit. They are below average. They are horrible. I wouldn't even bang any of them for a one-night stand. And most of you would not either, okay, unless you had no standards, like he clearly does, okay? He needs to get off all this fucking Adonis shit, okay? That's who he thinks he is or who he's representing, okay? He'll never be like that. He'll never be cool. He'll never be able to bang hot chicks. That's just how it is, because he's a fucking loser. And he tries and tries and tries and tries. And now he acts like, oh, now he's in the know. Okay, now Hamza has grown up. Okay, still needs to wear the hood. so people can't tell what's going on there. Say he's become a better listener over time.
So hey,
but only only in the mono channel.
what are you doing right now? And she just replies with a one-word answer: TV, Netflix, eating, and then a small message after that: WBU. Like what?
Now he's gonna go over text strategy. Yeah, from his mom's house.
Oh yeah, she replied. Okay, and she asked me the question as well. Yeah. I'm just and of course I knew at that point I'm not gonna like tell her that I'm playing video games or whatever. I was really doing like fapping or something. I'm not gonna.
Look at his examples of what he's doing. Playing video games or fapping. Look at his face here. This is a guy trying to educate you about how to text and how to get girls. Okay, he's building into his example that he can't tell her that he's jerking off or playing video games. Yes.
I'm fapping, by the way. I'm on page 60.
So I'm just gonna end it on that note. And again, I'll say the battle for ideas, I'm just gonna play one last video. And many people think that you couldn't learn from this video, but I will play it anyway. But here's a video that the crazy thing is about him, for example, is Khabib, or actually, let me see.
Hi, my name's Gerald Mercer, and I'm fighting out of Killcliff FC.
His fighting style. Yes, I do.
Oh, possibly. Cool. It's kind of. I think it's cool. I think it's cool when like if you're like Shavkat and someone like Laura Sanko who is that commentator and all these other things has a crush on you. I mean,
The entire country of Kazakhstan is very excited about it because I got like 20,000 new followers.
So keep
after
going
that
with
show.
it. Dude, I
No,
would
I
ride
have
that
a
wave.
husband. I know.
You could have a crush. You could have a celebrity crush.
By the way, if you
That's
can
legal.
get, if you can,
So she likes Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I'm gonna show you why she likes Shavkat Rakhmonov. And this is gonna be the only. We're gonna watch it one more time. I like this guy. But these are the guys that, I get my energy from, I get my ideas from, because we have a common denominator in Islam and in the fighting. But just you can tell that they embody that energy, you know what I mean, versus these red pill fakers, But look at her. Let's see.
Shavkat Rakhmonov. That man gives me chills.
You can tell.
the tenor in your voice changed.
It did, no.
Yeah, it went up an octave.
I've never interviewed him. I've never spoken to him, but I feel
can
like
see the goosebumps
I
in
feel
here.
like I would get nervous.
But you want to.
But I want to. He is 16-0. He has a 100% finish rate. I mean, it's Hamzat Shavkat.
Your boyfriend, Hakhman Shirmanaev. What's his name?
Yeah, Hakhman Shirmanaev.
What's his name again?
Yeah, you see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? Like
I've seen Rahman.
His name is Shavkat.
I'm still a fan. I just don't have a crush.
Just a
Maybe
fan?
for-
It's kind of cool. It's kind of. I think it's cool. I think it's cool when like if you're like Shavkat and someone like Laura Sanko who is that commentator and all these other things has a crush on you. I mean,
The entire country of Kazakhstan.
So again, but let's see Shavkat Rakhmonov's reactions. Let's see how he is. Let's see him in the interview.
My next guest is going to be taking on Jeff Neal at UFC 285 on March 4th. I'm so happy to welcome Shavkat Rakhmonov here on the program. Shavkat, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
You see how cool, calm, and collected he is? Just chill. You can learn things from these guys. That's what I'm saying.
Obviously, it was disappointing to see that this fight was supposed to take place in January. Jeff,
actually, we'll do a part 2. We'll do a part 2. But for now, you guys get the picture. Make sure you put the right ideas in your head, man. But with that being said, Fula signing out. Njarama. But it's still SYSBM and it's still SYSMB. Save yourself. And definitely the best way to save yourself is to leave this place. And for all you Muslims out there who may listen, please make dua that I am able to do it successfully, and that we're all able to do it successfully. Njarama.